A few years ago, I had to kind of shake myself, get myself together because I was doing okay, but there were some financial decisions that I was making. I will say that we were making that were probably not optimal. And while not everything has to be optimal in order for it to work financially, you do need to kind of head in the right direction. So, made some changes and really started to make some progress. Um, really started to head in the right direction and have continued since then. But today I wanted to show you a video that I became aware of a couple of weeks ago, and it's about some people who are a little older than I am, who are giving advice to their younger self and giving advice to younger people, other young people today. And it really hit home with me because I think I could have very easily been a version of these folks if I hadn't made some decisions to head in a different direction. So let's just take a look if I can get this thing to play.
Dear younger self, huh? That's how you want me to start?
Which part? The beginning?
No, read this first and then skip to that.
Dear younger self,
Dear younger self,
Dear younger self,
make sure you are paid what you're worth.
Save for retirement as much as possible.
Don't cash out all your 401k at once.
I only have about 3 months worth of bill payments in my savings account.
We make very little on Social Security.
So let's stop right there. Contribute as much as you can to your 401k. Um, the one lady talked about having 3 months of expenses in her checking account. And those are things that when you're younger, you don't necessarily always think about. I know I didn't. I wasn't trying to maximize. I was just trying to put just a little something away just to see how I was doing it basically when I first started. Okay, let's go ahead.
I still have to work to pay my bills.
I'm worried that my investments won't last me.
I don't have any retirement funds put away at all. Okay. Are you ready now?
Dear younger self,
Open up a Roth IRA and learn how to invest.
Don't pile up debt.
I would tell myself to hold on to my investment portfolio.
Okay, let me stop it. The older gentleman with the blonde hair, white hair, said he has nothing put away. And that made my heart sink because you're going to learn how old he is, but he has nothing put away for retirement.
Save more and give less.
Your home is one of your biggest assets. Protect it.
After I retired, I cashed out my entire 401k, deposited $110,000 for a down payment on the house. I also paid a 45% income tax bill by taking all the money at once.
I opened a Roth IRA
45% tax bill by taking her 401k. And I've had this conversation with younger people who have done that. They didn't know the ramifications of taking retirement money out of their 401k before they were anywhere near the eligible age. And I don't think they were even aware that they had paid the penalty. They just hadn't paid attention. So they got to pay the regular tax on it, but they also, of course, paid a 10% penalty because they're not of retirement age. Okay.
when I was 54 finally, and I put $6,000 in it and let it sit there because I didn't know that you were supposed to invest it.
I think if I were to just leave my money alone, not move it around, then it would be worth a lot more today.
A financial advisor explained to me that I had to invest it, and I did, and now it's over $41,000.
I would definitely advise younger people to put a maximum amount in their 401k or IRA match because that money grows over time.
Just imagine if I had knew how to do that, and when I was 25 instead of 55, that would be quite a bit more.
It's way, way better if you plan something way ahead of time than wait till the end like we have.
Up we go.
Way better to plan ahead of time rather than to wait like they did. That's like a broken record. That's like easier said than done, though, because especially when you're younger, you are. Let me stop talking about the younger people. That's probably not fair, because it's not just young people who are carefree and maybe not thinking about this. It's people who are starting to get a little older into middle age who are doing the exact same thing that the young people are saying. So let me apologize to the younger people, because it's not just them. And a lot of times you're closer to middle age, it's people who are just trying to impress other people, just trying to do something that is going to make someone be impressed with you, or give you some kind of a goose pimply feeling because they compliment you on it. But regardless of the age group, you have to give some energy and some thought to this stuff, because it is, as you hear these older people talking about it, it's extremely important.
There you go. There you go. This is where he likes to sit. We didn't realize that Social Security would be so little.
Most of my debt has accumulated with things beyond my control. It's not like we go to Vegas and have a great time and run our credit card up, but we've always needed them as well when we fell on hard times.
I missed one payment on the credit card, and it just ballooned. Within 6 months, it completely doubled.
The Federal Housing Administration gave us a loan. The interest rate back then was 13 3/4, and it just grew so fast. Eventually, our loan was so big we couldn't manage it, and we ended up moving off of the farm.
Now we've had to go into thousands of dollars of credit card debt to pay our bills. We don't have a savings account anymore, and our credit scores are tank.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will it go off if I put it on airplane mode? Will it ding ding? I've learned that in matters of finance, you have to make decisions without being overly emotional.
I don't even drive by.
You have to make decisions without being overly emotional. Great line. Amazing line. You cannot allow your emotions to drive your decisions, or you will be in the ditch. You will absolutely be in the ditch. And guys, it is actually not necessarily about, when you talk about trying to take care of your money and be a good steward and grow your wealth and all this stuff, it is not necessarily about what it will allow you to do that would fall into the category of extravagance. These people may be making some slightly different decisions just would admit the difference in whether they could live a normal life. It was nothing about extravagance. It was simply about maybe having something in place for when those things happen in life that do happen to all of us. They would have some ability to go through it because they've made some plans and and had a strategy financially to deal with those very consequential events that we all have to deal with.
By my old farm, it's really a very negative part of my life when I see what we could have had.
I have always offered financial help to friends to help them get through a difficult time, not realizing I was less fortunate too.
When you get to our age, it's a little late in the game to try to fix it, because the damage is already done. So if you're young and you're working, don't be afraid to put back an extra $20 a week or whatever, and don't touch it.
I'm currently an over-the-road trucker. My current financial situation is probably the reason I keep trucking at my age. I haven't seen too many 80-year-olds out there.
It's okay to care about people. However, you have
He's 80 years old, and he's still out on the road trucking, not because he necessarily wants to be, but because he has to do something right now still.
to look at what it is costing you mentally and financially. You only have so many years to prepare for retirement.
Dear younger self,
Prioritize your health to avoid financial and physical hardships.
Be prepared for unexpected expenses.
Things change, circumstances change.
I didn't plan on pancreatic cancer at the age of 62. But even with good insurance, chemo, surgery, radiation, and a second round of treatment when the cancer came back caused me to meet my annual $2,500 out-of-pocket maximum for the past 3 years.
My wife had her heart issue. Her income changed immediately.
My jobs were physically taxing, and I feel that contributed to some of the medical conditions. On a scale of 1 to 10, my health is probably a 6.
She was making over $50,000 a year plus benefits, and suddenly she couldn't work.
My savings have been spent on medical bills. I only have enough left to cover my bills for a few months.
So this is that's enough of that. I don't necessarily need to watch the whole thing. Um, sometimes I've gotten into conversations with people who have a slightly different view than I do, and that's fine. This is everybody. Nobody has to do everything the same way. Um, but I've had conversations with people, and it's pretty evident that they don't necessarily see it the way I see it. Again, as I said, that's fine. But the uncertainties that we all have to deal with sometimes can cause us to change our minds. And I'll guarantee there's some people who were carefree. Hey, YOLO, you only live once. I'm going to do what I need to do to enjoy myself, and which is fine. You need to enjoy yourself, but not at the expense of your future self. So, um, this video really hit home with me. It really did hit home with me, and because these people are at a point where, unless God works a miracle, there's only going to be so much that they're going to be able to do to rectify their financial situation, and that's somewhat heartbreaking. It is. It is somewhat heartbreaking when you see that. Um, it doesn't make you feel really good because, oh, I've tried to tell you you should have handled things differently. That's not it at all. And that's kind of why I do uh, things the way I do, and I say some of the things I say, because I know that if you live long enough, you're not going to regret any amount of energy or money you put into saving for retirement. You're not going to regret it, not one bit. Not one bit will you regret it. One of the biggest risks is longevity risk. It's longevity risk. It's you may live a not really long life on this earth, and you want to be able to have the funds to support your life on this earth for as long as you're here. And and you heard the lady, a couple of those folks talking about, the one guy who's 80 years old, he's still having to drive the truck. The lady who's saying she retired too early because she realized her money wasn't going to last her. Those kinds of things. You have to plan for those kinds of things. So, and now there's all kinds of do-it-yourself. If you didn't want to pay somebody a lot of money, There's all kind of software now that you can purchase very, very inexpensively to put together your own plan. Now, I wouldn't just trust that. I would still advise anybody to let a professional look at your plan or put together a plan on your behalf, and just kind of, because it's too important to just totally depend on you as an individual, because you might have blind spots. I might have blind spots. Uh, but regardless, we have to put that energy and that time into that, because um, fortunately, a couple of these folks are able to continue to work. Um, the young one, the other one lady, the black lady, basically was saying her health is not great, so she's going to be limited on what she can do. There's one guy who's talking about he doesn't think anybody wants to hire him because of his age and all this kind of stuff. So it just highlights the importance of us putting that energy into uh, doing what we can to shore up our financial future. Forget about, um, like as I said before, living extravagantly and ostentatiously. But let's just think about just being able to maintain a normal lifestyle where you can be happy and take care of yourself. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Hope it maybe it'll make you think the way it made me think, because it definitely did. Caused me to really want to continue to be focused on what I'm doing here, and also to try to help other people do the exact same thing. So you guys take care. We'll talk to you next time. I'm out.